Cristiano Ronaldo bought his first serious car before he knew how to drive. He was 17 years old, playing for Sporting Lisbon on his first professional contract, and he bought a Mercedes with his initial wages before anyone had taught him how to operate it. A teammate confirmed the story years later. That detail, the wanting before the readiness, the impulse before the capability, is the origin of a collection that grew, across 24 years and 6 clubs, into one of the most extraordinary private garages in sport. 40 cars, give or take. He no longer knows the exact number. This is how it happened. Madeira to Lisbon, the beginning. Ronaldo grew up in Funchal, on the island of Madeira, in a family that did not have money. His father was a kitman at a local football club. The family lived in a small house on a slope above the harbour, in circumstances that made the idea of a personal car the kind of aspiration that existed somewhere beyond the horizon of what was realistic. He joined Sporting Lisbon's youth academy at 12. At 17, he broke into the first team. The first professional wages arrived, and before he had taken a single driving lesson, he spent some of them on a Mercedes. His former Sporting teammate Vitaly Kutuzov, a Belarusian striker who had arrived on loan from AC Milan during the 2002-03 season, shared this story in an interview years later. The two shared a room during that period. Kutuzov recalled Ronaldo's excitement about the purchase and his complete absence of concern about the fact that he could not legally drive it. The car sat waiting. Ronaldo eventually learned. The impulse was already there. He was at Sporting for one full season. In August 2003, Manchester United paid £12.24 million for him. He was 18 years old and moving to the most famous club in the world. The Mercedes went with him to England. Manchester United, the crash and the car park. The early Manchester United years were the period when Ronaldo's relationship with cars became genuinely competitive. The training ground at Carrington had a car park. With his United teammates driving many top cars, it did not take long for Ronaldo to catch up and compete in the car park at the club's training centre. His first proper purchase at the club was an Audi S3 coupe, modest by the standards of what was coming, but appropriate for an 18-year-old on his first major contract. The teammates around him were driving significantly more expensive vehicles. Ronaldo observed, Ronaldo calculated. And then, within a year, Ronaldo spent approximately £200,000 on a Ferrari 360 Modena. He crashed it within 2 days. Teammate Fabio da Silva revealed that the crash happened the first time Ronaldo was behind the wheel of his new £200,000 car. He had registered the car just 2 days before hitting the wall of a tunnel near Manchester Airport. Cristiano had mentioned that he was going to take the car out of the garage as he had bought it a few days ago, but had not driven it, Fabio told the Manchester Evening News. That is when the accident happened. The car was later sold online for €30,000. A £200,000 purchase, 2 days of ownership, a tunnel wall, and a €30,000 recovery. The teenage Ronaldo's relationship with his own mechanical ambition had produced, in a single incident, the most expensive lesson of his early career. He did not stop buying cars. He bought a BMW M6 in 2006, a Bentley Continental GTC in 2007, a Ferrari F430 in 2008, an Audi Q7, an Audi R8, an Aston Martin DB9, and a Bentley GT Speed all arrived before he left for Real Madrid in 2009. The Carrington car park was no longer a place where he was catching up to his teammates. It was a place where other players were measuring themselves against him. Real Madrid, where the collection became serious. Ronaldo moved to Real Madrid in July 2009 for a then world record fee of €94 million. The contract that came with that transfer was the financial turning point that transformed his collection from impressive to genuinely extraordinary. Within months of arriving in Madrid, he had added a Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorano to the garage. By 2011, a Ferrari 599 GTO and a Maserati Gran Cabrio. By 2012, a Lamborghini Aventador LP 704. The V12 flagship that announced his arrival in a different category of collector entirely. The Real Madrid era also produced his first Ballon d'Or trophies, 4 of them between 2008 and 2016. Each award came with a corresponding expansion of the garage. The pattern was consistent: achieve something significant on the pitch, mark it with something significant in the car park. By 2017, the collection had reached a value estimated at approximately £6 million. That same year, he bought his first two Bugattis, a Veyron and a Chiron, within months of each other. The Chiron came personalised with the CR7 logo embroidered on the headrests. The car that had been the automotive absolute since its launch, now branded with the same logo that appeared on his boots and his fragrance line. At Real Madrid, Ronaldo had not simply become one of the world's greatest footballers. He had become a brand, and his cars had become part of that brand's vocabulary. Juventus, consolidation and identity. Ronaldo joined Juventus in 2018 for £99.2 million. Another world record transfer, another chapter, another city. The Turin years were less about expansion than about expression. The collection by this point was already substantial. The additions during the Juventus era reflected a collector who was no longer acquiring for the sake of acquiring, but choosing with more specific intent. A McLaren Senna arrived during this period, a car named after the greatest Formula One driver who ever lived, built as a track-focused road car in a limited run of 500 units. For someone with Ronaldo's documented obsession with legacy and being remembered as the greatest, a car named after Ayrton Senna carries a specific resonance. He later told Piers Morgan, "I love the Bugattis. They are different beasts." The McLaren Senna suggests a man who had also come to appreciate what a different kind of beast could offer. Al-Nassr, football's first billionaire and the investment admission. In January 2023, Ronaldo joined Al-Nassr in Saudi Arabia. The financial terms of the deal, reported at over £175 million per year across salary, image rights, and associated agreements, placed him in a financial category that his United and Madrid contracts had not quite reached. In 2025, he became confirmed as football's first billionaire. The collection at this point was already beyond what most people could catalogue. He told Piers Morgan, "If I had to bet, I'd honestly say 40 or 41 cars. Honestly, I don't know." The man who has counted every goal he has scored, 900 and counting, tracked precisely across every competition and every club, cannot tell you within one how many cars he owns. The collection has grown beyond the point where personal tracking is straightforward. In 2022, the Bugatti 110 arrived, one of 10 produced globally. He received delivery of this masterpiece in 2022. The crown jewel of the collection, confirmed and photographed, white with CR7 branding, worth approximately $9.9 million at the time of purchase and considerably more since. And then, in 2025, the detail that reframes the entire collection's trajectory. When Piers Morgan asked about the Bugatti Tourbillon, his latest Bugatti acquisition, Ronaldo admitted he bought it as an investment rather than for pleasure. That sentence is the distance between the 17-year-old who bought a Mercedes before he could drive and the billionaire who buys a £3.2 million hypercar because he has calculated it will appreciate. The impulse has not disappeared, but it now sits alongside something more precise. He buys cars because he loves them. He also buys cars because he understands they hold value in ways that most assets do not. The Ferrari Daytona SP3 arrived in early 2024, completing his ownership of Ferrari's entire Icona series, a collecting achievement that requires Ferrari's personal invitation and the financial capacity to accept it twice. He drove it to join the Portugal national team in Lisbon in March 2024, a matte red spaceship parked outside a hotel while its owner went to represent his country. What the timeline tells you: the collection that began with a Mercedes a 17-year-old could not legally drive has grown across 24 years into something worth tens of millions of dollars, containing vehicles that only 10 people on Earth can own. Every stage of the career has a corresponding chapter in the garage. Sporting Lisbon, the impulse; Manchester United, the crash, the competition, the acceleration; Real Madrid, the Bugattis, the legitimacy, the brand; Juventus, the McLaren, the legacy thinking; Al-Nassr, the investment admission, the 110, the billionaire status. He told Piers Morgan he thinks he has 40 or 41 cars. He honestly does not know. The boy from Modena who bought a car before he could drive it has built something so large that counting it has become impractical. That, in its own way, is the most Ronaldo detail of all. Subscribe to Drive Directive and tell us in the comments, which chapter of Ronaldo's car collection do you think is the most interesting?